Hello! This is Janey and Max from Sort of the Story, and we're here to tell you about some things that are happening between episodes 63 to 75.
During these episodes, there are interspersed audio break-ins of a person's voice along with the sound of static. You'll also notice in the show notes for these episodes, there is sort of a puzzle. This is part of a longer puzzle that we did leading up to episode 76, so this is all supposed to be there. Nothing to worry about, just a fun game.
Yeah, and we hope you have a lot of fun with it, and we hope you enjoy listening to these next couple of episodes. All right, enjoy this one. It's a good one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we say some really stupid shit in this. You're going to love it. All right,
Bye!
Hello, and welcome
To Sort of the Story.
episode
69? Nice.
I'm Janey.
And I'm Max.
We didn't practice that. We were just really excited for this episode.
That was some classic group thing, right?
That was great. I think we done did it. Anyway,
That's
see you
the
later, guys.
episode.
This is the podcast where we tell each other stories, like fairy tales and folk tales, mythology.
Mixology.
Mixology, urology.
I'm going to teach you guys how to make an appletini.
And I'm going to pee on the podcast.
What?
Urology.
Oh my god, I didn't hear that.
It's time you know.
I thought you were implying that most cocktails contain your piss.
Why do you think I don't drink them, Max? I know how the sausage is made. Okay, this podcast is not for children. Don't listen if you're a child.
If you already started listening, stop. And also, why'd you start on episode 69?
Oh.
Gotcha. I'm going to tell your mom.
Yeah, we're telling your parents. I have to really say now, specifically, this is not for kids. This is the disclaimer, because all my elementary school students found all my social media. And it's only a matter of time before they're like, stories? I like stories.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered this possibility.
You brats, get off of here.
Hey, if you're one of Janey's students,
go do your homework. Honestly, go do your homework. What are you doing?
get out of here. I'm a ghoul and I'll eat you.
If you
That's
don't get
not
off
an
this
idle
podcast,
threat.
if you don't stop listening to this podcast, Max the Ghoul is gonna get you. She lives under your bed, and she's watching what you listen to.
Mm-hmm. So be good, or I'll eat you to death.
Yeah.
So we've been talking up episode 69 for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm really excited about it.
I'm very nervous, but
I have what I think is going to be the weirdest story we'll ever tell on this podcast.
Whoa.
No, I think I do.
Whoa.
That's a big claim, but I'm going to say right now, I'm going to hype you up. I think this might be the weirdest thing I ever say on this podcast.
I might have the weirdest guy that we've had on this podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's close, but I think it might be up there. If I had to assign a superlative to him.
If you guys want, like before we even begin this, if you want to hang out with us on the Discord and talk about these really weird things that we're about to tell you, you should. That's it. Go to our website, www.sortofthestory.com, and you can find all of our links to our socials, like our Instagram and our TikTok and our Twitter and our Discord and our Goodreads and our bookshop.org affiliate account and all
And we
of
have
the
a
good
Facebook
things.
page.
We do?
Yeah. Remember, I had to set up the Facebook to set up the Instagram to do the posting thing? So we have a Facebook if you use Facebook.
Is there anybody on the Facebook?
Nope. not a one.
Don't know why you guys would be.
Nope.
But go join the Facebook. Why not?
Sure.
And if you're listening to this, then we have already revealed to the Discord our special episode about us talking about The Mediator, which we just read.
Yes, we're starting a little book club on the Discord, so if you're interested in reading dumb books with us, then come join. We're mostly reading just dumb books, but also we've talked a little bit about reading like folklore books or like literary folklore.
Yeah, and it remains to be seen if we actually do this in any regular interval, but you are going to get a bonus episode if you're on the Discord and you liked The Mediator or hated The Mediator. Time will tell.
If you're on the Discord, you're getting a bonus episode whether you like it or not.
Yeah! Screw you guys! Is there a bingo square that's me being really mean to the listeners for no reason?
I feel like That's the whole bingo card. It's
That's
just...
it. Fuck you, listeners. You should, you know what?
happens in every
You're the
episode.
weird one.
That's the free space.
The free space is if you feel bad about yourself at the end of this. Well, you know, it's going to be a long one. Do you want to just get started?
I do. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Sexy, sexy, sexy.
Woo! Get ready to be turned on. Oh, no. No? They're not going to be turned on? Max is
Hard to
giving me
say.
a really weird face. Okay, well, get ready to be turned on whether you want it or not. Bye!
Oh, no.
Okay, Max.
Janey.
Next.
Janey.
Today, I am going to be telling you the story of Lysistrata. It's a play made in 411 BCE by
A good year.
a playwright, honestly, vintage. That's a really good vintage, 411 BCE. Can you drink wine that old? Probably not, right? Wouldn't it be like a clump?
I don't understand. I don't know.
Okay, so you've let the whole team down, and I hope you're happy.
I think that here's what I think. I think that it would continue to ferment in the bottle.
Yes.
And that the bottle would explode, so it wouldn't be in question.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, I believe you. Okay, so we just took like a 4-second break. It was like a 2-minute break while I highlighted your lines, because since this is a play, I've decided to grab my favorite weird exchanges from this play and do the dialogue, and I've highlighted your lines. So I hope you're excited.
Yes.
Yes, she is. Okay, so Aristophanes was a comic who hated war, right? And he wrote about that a lot. His plays were meant to basically show how he thought, like his philosophy. He wrote 3 plays that acted as a plea for peace, and through Lysistrata, this one, it's a farce, but through her, he was able to kind of speak his mind about the war. So they've been in the Peloponnesian War for a long time. Greece and Sparta are fighting. Okay?
Cool.
Okay.
Is Sparta distinct from Greece at this time?
Athens and Sparta is what I
Gotcha.
meant. Then again, they call themselves the Greeks, like the Spartans call themselves the Greeks. That becomes confusing when you think about the Iliad, which is all about the Greeks versus the Trojans. Anyway.
Is Troy in Sparta?
No, it is not.
Well, then I'm confused.
Okay. This is not that important to this story, but
Troy is a city.
Helen was of Sparta. She was married to Menelaus, basically the king of Sparta, right? Then she was kidnapped by Paris, who was a prince of Troy. So then Sparta and everybody allied to Sparta went to war. They called themselves the Greeks. And they were fighting against Troy, which I believe was also in Greek.
Gotcha.
Or Greece.
That is confusing.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Lysistrata, a young wife, lives in Athens. And like I said, at the time the play was produced, Athens and Sparta had been at war for many, many years. And also in the war was the Boeotians. They were allies of Sparta. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Lysistrata, one day, the play opens. She has called a meeting between all the women in Athens and also from the surrounding areas, including Sparta and Boeotia. She's put out an all call to all women. She was like, come meet me here.
The midnight bark, but for ladies.
Yes. The ladies' midnight bark. Which would be such a good Luna bar.
Oh, that would be so good.
Luna bar, are you listening? We just gave you stuff. Give us stuff now. Chocolate.
Don't send us Luna bars, actually.
Send us Luna bars for our menstrual cycles. All the other women were late to this meeting, which was annoying, but she was soon joined by her neighbor, Kalanike. I actually YouTubed this one to figure out how to say her name, and I'm not sure if the YouTube was correct.
Proud of you.
Thank you. She was another woman of Athens and Lysistrata's neighbor. So Kalanike asked Lysistrata what was so important that everyone needed to meet up, and she's like, hey, is it something big? So here, grab your lines. The first part. Are you ready? You are playing Lysistrata, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
It's huge.
And hard as well?
Yes, by God, really hard.
Then why aren't we all here?
I don't mean that. If that were it, they'd all be charging here so fast.
All right, so right off the top, we get a dick joke.
Great.
That's how this play is going to go. It's only going to get weirder. You also need to know that in ancient Greek plays, because they were in these huge, like, arena type things.
Amphitheater?
Yeah. People would be sitting really far away, and so they would make these huge fucking, basically big heads, like Easter Island type giant fucking forms, and then they would play as those weird things so that people could see what was happening. Meaning everything is larger than life and fake.
Including
the boners. And that's not a joke. There's boners in this. They had giant boners attached to these weird bodies.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
I know. Okay, but right now there are no boners on the men. They're gonna grow as the play goes on.
This is horrifying. Please continue.
Yes. So, no. Instead, Lysistrata had realized that men were completely useless at running things. In fact, with all the fighting between Athens, Sparta, and Boeotia, the men had run things straight into the ground, and it was never going to stop. Like, this had been lasting for, like, decades at this point. And she was tired of the fighting, and all the other women were tired of the fighting. She had come to the realization that the fate of all of Greece was up to them. Like, the men weren't going to fix it. It had to be the women. And she knew how to do it. She had called this meeting between the women of Athens, but also from the surrounding areas. And they finally started to arrive, and Lysistrata greeted them as you would normally greet your guests who have come from a long way away. In this scene, you are going to play, I guess, Lysistrata again?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what's highlighted.
All right, so this scene, as the women start to show up, there's a woman named Lampito, and she's basically like a really important woman from Sparta, and she's a badass, as all Spartan women were. So this is Lysistrata and Kalonike greeting.
Am I also Kalonike?
No, I'm Kalonike, and I'm also the stage directions. Are you ready?
Who's Lampito? You highlighted Kalonike for mine.
Hold on. You're Lysistrata and you're Kalonike, and I'm Lampito. Go ahead.
Hello, Lampito, my dear friend from Sparta. How beautiful you look. So sweet. Such a fine complexion. And your body looks so fit. Strong enough to choke a bull.
And Lampito. Yes, by the two gods, I could pull that off. I do exercise and work out to keep my bum well-toned. Kalonike, fondling Lampito's boobs.
What an amazing pair of breasts you've got.
Oh, you stroke me like I'm a sacrifice. And then they all throw back their heads and laugh.
You know how girls do.
Classic girls.
I love when I do the ladies' midnight bark and all my gals come over and we all touch each other's boobs and talk about how we could...
choke a bull.
Yeah, how we could break watermelons open with our thighs.
Yeah. So after Kalonike had checked out every single woman's ass that's in the play, everybody that shows up, she's just like, look at that ass, look at that ass.
Wow, look at that ass.
She'd also gotten a really good look at this Boeotian woman's pubic hair. Like, she literally just lifts up her dress and goes, wow, well-groomed. They keep going. Lysistrata,
this sounds like a bad party.
It is horrible. Aristophanes is weird as fuck. Also, guys, this is an ancient Greek play. Like, not a single part of this is, like, over-expressed. Like, this is just what was in the ancient text. Lysistrata finally greets the women and asks them a question. Didn't they miss their husbands, the fathers of their children, when they had gone off to war? And all the women start to lament at how often their husbands were gone, and how for months at a time the men would be off taking care of their commanders, or occupying land, or killing each other. Blah, blah. And so Lampito complained that as soon as her husband would get back from war, he'd grab his shield and then, quote, bugger off again. So Lysistrata says, as for old flames and lovers, there are none left. And since Milesians went against us, I've not seen a decent 8-inch dildo. Yes, it's just leather, but it helps us out. So would you be willing if I found a way to work with me to make this fighting end? By the way, Milesia was an area of Greece that made dildos and then manufactured them and put them out all over the place. And then they picked up the fighting and now they were against Athens. And so their supply of dildos stopped coming in and all the women were like, God damn it!
Well, now I care about the war.
We can't have anything nice. And if you want to hear about the Greek story for how the first dildo was invented, go listen to Dionysus the Inventor, which I believe is episode 65.
Sounds right.
Okay. So all the women agree that it sucks that there are no more dildos coming in. 8-inch dildos coming in. That's a very specific number.
The 7-inch ones come from a different place.
Yeah. Troy. So they're all like, yeah, I'm tired of the war, and I would do anything to make it stop. One of them is like, I'd give all the money in my purse. Like, they could have every single thing. Another one's like, you could slice me in half and use one of those halves to, like, broker a piece. I don't care. Like, I would lay down my life for this.
Question. Top half, bottom half, left half, right half. Front half, back half?
I think she said, like, in half like a sandwich.
Yeah, but...
down the middle. I don't know. Maybe any half. I don't think she cares. She's willing to die for this.
Diagonal?
Yeah.
Diagonal?
Yeah, like one of those grilled cheeses that taste better when you cut it diagonally. Yeah. One of those.
So if you go diagonal, you can keep most of your guts.
Yeah. But you would still die.
But you have no legs. But you might have one arm. Might even have 2 arms if you do it right.
There is a right way to do this. Anyway, sound off in the Discord. What's the right way to cut yourself in half? And will that make peace? Another one's like, I climbed to the top of a mountain just to get a glimpse of peace. And so Lysistrata is listening and nodding. She's feeling really heartened by their fervor, which I wrote right after I finished listening to Jane Eyre. Heartened by their fervor is not something I've ever written before. And I'll never say it again.
Fervor.
She told them that in order to stop the fighting, the women would have to give up. And she kind of trails off, as I did. And all the women
Half
are
of
like,
their body.
Please, tell us, give up what? I'd give up anything in the world if it meant bringing my men home for good. And Lysistrata tells them they'd have to give up men's penises. And immediately all the women just start to straight up bounce. They're like, okay, anyway, see you later. Absolutely the fuck not. Lysistrata has a line. She says, why do you turn away? Where are you going? How come you bite your lips and shake your heads? And why so pale? How come you're crying like that? Will you not do it? What will it be? These women have literally started to burst into tears. They're so upset. So the women all tell her that the war could go on. It's fine. War's not even that bad, actually. I like it. Kalanike told Lysistrata that she'd walk through fire before she gave up screwing. That's a quote. And the other women agree. So the only woman willing at first to try this no-sex pact was Lampito, the Spartan badass. And she wasn't happy about it either, but she's like, hey, anything is worth a shot. Get back here, you fucking pussies. Come on, let's go. And so, of course, the question is, why would withholding sex stop wars? And Lysistrata had an answer. First, most of them, including most of the Spartan women, except Lampito, who was to go back and spread the word amongst the Spartan women, they would lock themselves in the Acropolis so their husbands couldn't get to them. So that would kind of like help them with this like sex pact, right? Mm-hmm. For everyone else and anyone whose husband tried to come get them, they were to get all dolled up, wear sexy see-through dresses, and lounge around eating bananas and hot dogs and shit. You know, sexy stuff.
Hot dogs.
And eventually...
Complimentary frozen corn dogs for everyone who showed up to the party.
For everyone in ancient Greece. And eventually their husbands would get super horny and they would want to have sex. But the women were to say, oh, no, not until you agree to stop fighting in wars.
I thought there was going to be more, like... I thought that... Pardon me for saying this, but I thought they were going to beat around the bush a little bit more.
Yeah. Nope.
Where they would be like, oh, no, I just can't because I'm so sad that you're at war all the time.
No, they're like, you can have this sweet, sweet ass if you stop war.
I appreciate the directness, you know?
And so the women are like, what if they just ignore us and drag us to the bedroom? We have to remember we're in 411 BCE. Like, rape is not a thing. Like, the idea of rape isn't even a problem. So they're like, what if they ignore us? And so Lysistrata is like, listen, if they start to drag you to that bedroom, hold on to the doorpost. Kick and scream. I don't care. And they're like, okay, but what if the men are to beat us? And she's like, okay, well then submit. I don't die for this. But like, you need to make it as not fun as possible. You need to just lay there like a plank. And every time he thrusts, be like, is that it? This is terrible. Yawn. Like, make this unfun. Did I leave the stove on? And she's like, make it terrible to have sex with you. And so Lysistrata says, besides, there are other ways to make them suffer. They'll soon surrender. No husband ever had a happy life if he did not get on well with his wife. He invented happy wife, happy life.
Wow.
Yeah. Trailblazer.
Trail Brazier, I think you mean.
Trail Brazil. So the women all reluctantly agreed to try. They're like, okay, I guess this could work. But Lampito presented a new problem. The Spartans would probably stop fighting. She's like, listen, we're really underestimating how much they love having sex with us. She's like, but the Athenians were, quote, mad for war. Which, by the way, I think this exchange proves that this was written by an Athenian person, considering what we know about history. The Spartans were, A, fucking each other a lot, and B, mad for war, like way more than the Athenians were, I thought.
Madder.
More angry at war.
Oh, I hate it.
War! So, besides, she says, the Athenians had this huge supply of gold locked away in the Acropolis, which meant that they could fight forever. They would never run out of resources. So Lysistrata is like, don't worry about that. While all of us young, sexy women are at this meeting, the old women have pretended to go to the Acropolis to sacrifice to Athena, but instead they're making a barricade to keep the men away from the gold. So the money won't be a problem. They can't get to it. The only one that can get to it are the women.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as everyone knows, old women don't have sex.
Nope. And so they all swear an oath to each other on a bowl of wine. They were like, let's go ahead and like sacrifice a bull. And they're like, with what? A knife? We're against war. Why are we killing things? And so they just fill up a bowl full of wine, and this is the oath. And you have to imagine, too, Lysistrata will say one part, and then all the women have to repeat it, and they're just getting more and more disheartened as this oath goes on. Quote, "No man, no husband, and no lover will get near me with a stiff prick. At home, I'll live completely without sex, wearing saffron silks with lots of makeup to make my man as horny as I can. If against my will he takes me by force, I'll be a lousy lay, not move a limb. I'll not raise my slippers up to the roof, nor crouch down like a lioness on all fours. If I do all this, then I may drink this wine. If I fail, may this glass fill with water." That's the oath.
Pretty good oath.
Yeah. So they quickly drink
an
the
oath
wine.
that includes a magic trick.
Yeah. And also tell women, like, don't put your slippers up to the ceiling. So they quickly drink the wine and they run off because they heard a frightful noise. A chorus of old men were carrying logs up to the Acropolis to break through the barricade because they're like, oh shit, all these old women were up there playing tricks! So they're trying to get up. They also brought burning torches because they went to burn the doors down and smoke the women guarding the gold out. Lysistrata and the others, apart from the women who go back to Sparta and Boeotia to spread the word, they rush to help the women barricade the citadel. This is a weird part. Thankfully, a chorus of old women had brought up a bunch of water to the top to basically fight the men with all their torches. And so we have this really weird exchange where the old men and the old women just start fucking taunting each other and like being really, really mean to each other. And the women are so much better at being mean to them. And the fight ends with all of these old women throwing buckets of water on top of the old men while they're like, my torch! No! Why?
Ah, good.
Yeah. Eventually, a magistrate and some armed guards made it to the citadel and were about to break open the doors with crowbars when Lysistrata threw open the doors and came out. And with her, basically every woman in the city, armed to the teeth and ready to fight, are standing behind her. And she's like, "Hi, can I help you? You're doing an awful lot of trying to break down a door with crowbars when you could just talk to us. What, are you not smart enough to talk to me?"
Hilarious.
So the magistrate's like, "I'm gonna arrest you." And as soon as he goes to step forward, all of these women just hold up their weapons like, fucking try it. Okay, so
Damn.
you're gonna play...
Old woman.
The old women. Okay, so I'll play the magistrate. Magistrate, to the first armed guard. "Are you scared of her? Grab her around the waist. You there, help him out, and tie her up."
"By Pandrosus, if you lift a hand to her, I'll beat you until you shit yourself."
The armed guard is so terrified he shits. Magistrate, "Look at the mess you made. Where is he, that other officer?" The magistrate turns to a third armed officer. "Tie up this one first, the one who's got such a dirty mouth."
"By the god of light, if you just touch her, you'll quickly need a cup to fix your eyes." What?
They used to cure black eyes by putting cups over them to stop the swelling. This officer shits his pants and runs off. The magistrate turns to a fourth officer. "Who's this here? Arrest her! I'll put a stop to all women in this demonstration."
"By bull-bashing Artemis, if you move to touch her, I'll rip out all your hair until you yelp in pain."
The fourth officer shits himself and runs off in terror. God, this play is so weird. At this point, they were all out of officers and were forced to actually talk to the women. So the magistrate asks Lysistrata why they were seizing the gold, which they didn't even bother to ask them. So he's like, "What do you want with the gold?" And she told him that from now on, the women were in charge of the money. The men were not allowed to use it for war any longer. And she made a couple other rules which made me laugh. She was like, also, you're not allowed to carry weapons in the marketplace. These men are fucking carrying like full-on assault rifles as they walk around the farmer's market. Like, that's stupid. You look stupid. And we all hate it. Also, I watched a man like straight up threaten to cut an old woman's head off if she didn't let him steal an orange. So like, no more weapons for you. All right? No. None of you. You don't get any.
Also, all of you have to be better at washing your butts.
Yeah, you know what? Everybody has to wash their ass. That's a new rule.
New rule, everybody wash your ass. Also, cut your toenails.
Yeah, cut your own toenails.
Cut your own toenails.
I shouldn't have to remind you. And you know what? Also, when you shave, stop leaving the hair in the sink. That's another thing.
Hot take.
Hot take. Anyway, so the magistrate was outraged, and he's like, "Women don't have any business dealing with money. We need that money for a war." And Lysistrata told him, well, there won't be any more wars. So that's how we take care of that. And also, if there were, they won't be financed. So figure that out. And so she points out that men could go to wars for years and years. They could come back old men and still get married to a young woman and have babies. Women, however, had to get married young or else nobody would want her. And also all of these wars made it so that these young women were never getting married. They were just kind of sitting there. There's a shortage of men, and their futures were dimmed So the wars had to stop. They're like, this is making everything super unfair. These women, like, by no fault of their own, are like dying alone and poor and without any prospects. Like, that's
especially because of the construction of the society that the men created, where women can't have lives without men. Like,
and then these old men are coming back and just like marrying the first young woman that they decide they want to, you know? And so the magistrate eventually calls her an idiot because he's bad at fighting. And she responds...
And then she kills him and he shits his pants.
She responds, quote, "Why don't you just die already?" And then all the women on the mountain splash water on him until he leaves. So for a while, Lysistrata...
I love they just splash water on him until he leaves. It's like, oh, sorry, you want to argue with me? Now you're wet. I don't listen to people who are wet.
It's kind of like when you spray your cat with like a spray bottle. Get out of here. Ba, ba, ba. So, for a while, Lysistrata and the other women stay locked up in the Acropolis, protecting the gold and not having sex with their men. However, eventually, the women start to get extra horny, and they're all trying to find ways to sneak out of the Acropolis, and they're just, like, inventing reasons that they need to go get laid. So one of them's like, "I need to go stretch some flax," and she's like, "Get back in the Acropolis. No, that's not an excuse to leave and break your oath. Go." And another one says, "I just need to go lay some wool on the bed," and she's like, "Stop it. That's not even a clever one. Get up there. Just please." And then another one sneaks out of the Acropolis, gets caught, and she has like a full, like, pregnant belly. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have this baby. I gotta go. Bye." And Lysistrata's like,
"Nobody tried."
"Hey, yesterday you weren't even pregnant." And the woman's like, "Okay, but today I am, so I have to go." And Lysistrata is like, "Come here. Get over here. What is under here?" And she pulls out from under her dress like a helmet. And she's like, "What is this?" And the woman's like, that? Ooh, I don't, it's so if I have the baby, I could just, like, squat over the helmet and then the helmet will catch it. That's why." And she's like, "Get back in there." And the girl's like, "Fine." She just, like, sulks and stomps back inside, dragging this fucking helmet behind her.
Hilarious.
So eventually, though, after Lysistrata is literally like, "Why am I playing, like, goalie trying to keep these girls from getting out? They're so horny." Eventually, the men start to come to the women in the Acropolis. So first, we see the husband of a, quote, beautiful teenage wife named Marine. He came with a huge erection. And, like, again, they literally constructed a giant, like, 12-foot-long erection for this, like, giant thing to, like, walk through. Behind him, a servant carried their baby. So Lysistrata taunts him for a bit when he told her who he was. She basically is like, "Marine, you're on." And so Marine goes in there to get all dolled up, and Lysistrata decides to taunt him. And I think you're playing Lysistrata.
I am. "Welcome, dear friend. Your name is not unknown to us. Your wife always has you on her lips. Anytime she licks an apple or an egg, she says, 'Ah, me, if only this could be Synesius.'"
Lysistrata licks her fist obscenely. Synesius, "Oh my god."
"Yes, by Aphrodite, yes. And when our talk happens to deal with men, your wife speaks up immediately. Oh, they're all useless sorts compared to my Synesius."
"Please call her out."
"Why should I do that? What will you give me?"
Synesius, "Whatever you want, by God. I have this." Synesius waves his erection in front of Lysistrata. "I'll give you what I got."
"No, thanks. I think I'll tell her to come out to you."
So he's just waving this giant erection around on the stage.
Helicopter.
Yeah. So eventually Marine makes this big show of acting sexy but sad. And she's like, "I love you, but you obviously don't love me. You don't even want to see me. Otherwise you would end the war." And he's like, "Oh my god. Like, what can I say to get you back home and on this dick, please?" And so he's like, "Don't you miss your son? Look, I brought our baby. Look at him. He's so dirty. Nobody's changed his diaper in weeks." Okay,
What?
That's on me, actually. I never learned.
That's on you too, buddy.
And so he's
Be
like,
better.
"Don't you care?" And so she goes up and he's like, "Come say hello to your child." And the child's like, "Mommy, mommy." And she's like, "Okay." And she walks up to him and she's in a completely see-through dress and she's just like swaying her hips as she walks, like just like overdoing it. And he's like, oh my god, oh my god." And she goes and she kisses her child. She doesn't touch her husband at all. And eventually he begs and begs her to have sex with him right there. He sends the attendant away with the child. He's like, "Get out of here. You don't even know how to change a diaper." And it's also a man. And so she tells him that she would have sex with him right then and there if he would end the war. And he's like, "Yeah, done. I'll never fight again. I'll talk to everyone. I'll broker a truce. I don't care. And so he's like, let's go do it. And she's like, okay, but first I gotta go get some blankets. And he's like, we don't need blankets, but she's already running back up to the Acropolis. She comes back with blankets. She's like, lay down on the, oh my God, I forgot a mattress. I'll be right back. And she like runs back and he's like, come on. So she goes to get a mattress. She comes back. She has him lay down with his giant erection. And she's like, I'm just going to take off my shirt. Oh no, I forgot a pillow. And then she just runs back to the Acropolis. And he's like, why?
This is less like sexy teasing and more possible ADHD diagnosis.
100%. And so she gets the pillow and she starts to take out her boob. She's like, wait until you see my...
You get one.
one boobie. And then she's like, wait a minute. I forgot to get you perfume to rub yourself down. And he's like, you don't need that. She's like, no, you definitely need it. Also, this is a gift to Aphrodite. We're honoring her with this lovemaking. We have to make it smell good. You smell terrible. You haven't washed your ass in years.
In years.
Years, Synesius.
And that's against the law now.
So she goes... I don't want you to get arrested. And so she goes back, gets the perfume, comes back. He puts it all over himself and she's like, ew, that smells terrible. Oh, I got the wrong perfume. And he's just like at this point sobbing. He's like, please, just touch it. And so she brings back the right one. She has him rub it all over himself. She's like, I'm going to get naked while you do this. And he's like, okay. So he's like rubbing himself down. And then as he's doing this, she just leaves and then doesn't come back. So he looks up and he's like, here I am. God damn it.
I was really hoping, this is the 90s sitcom prankster in me. I was really hoping somehow it was like oil laced with itching powder or something.
Nope. Nope. It's just regular oil. And then she left.
So now he's just slippery and naked on the front steps of the Acropolis.
On a mattress. On like a full bed. And so he cries and cries and cries. And when he gets up, he sees that the Spartan husbands are faring no better because as he's getting up from his sad mattress on the floor, a Spartan herald comes in with this giant erection. He's like hobbling and like walking in like, hello, is anyone here? And Synesius asks, quote, are you a man or some kind of phallic monster? And so the herald... So the herald tells him, I'm a man. Thank you very much. And that he had come to broker a truce. After Lampito had come back to Sparta, she told all the women in Sparta to stop having sex with their men. And now, all of the men are walking around the streets of Sparta, hunched over and in pain by how blue their balls are. And it's a real thing, and we're all gonna die, but they don't even care. So the
Don't
women...
Google it. My cousin actually died.
Yeah, don't Google it. So the women would not budge until Sparta had made peace with Greece. Like, that was the plan. And so, seeing that this was a grand conspiracy involving many cities, Synesius is like, okay, go gather your ambassadors, prepare for a meeting, and I'll do the same. And the two men hobble off in different directions. Soon, the Spartan ambassadors came, and this is the stage direction. The Spartans all display their erection with military precision.
10
Present!
kicks.
So, as the Spartans complain about their huge erections, the Athenians enter with their hard-ons, and the two groups of men bond over how horny they all are, and they talk about a bit like about how mornings are the worst, and wouldn't it be better if the women would come back? And Lysistrata comes on and she goes, okay, before you fuck each other, let's go ahead and get down to this.
She comes in and they're just sword fighting with their penises.
Yeah! It's time to negotiate. Lysistrata is here to mediate. She's the mediator.
The mediator.
The leader of the chorus says, if you're smart, before she comes in, he says, if you're smart, keep it covered with your cloak. One of those men who chopped off Hermes' dick might see you.
What?
Okay, so I looked this up.
The what?
Apparently, in 415 BCE, somebody went around and chopped the penises off of all the statues of Hermes. Did you know this?
Oh, I didn't know it was statues of Hermes, but
Yeah.
I know that... Oh, what am I thinking of?
Vandalism. 1415 hilarious vandalism.
Yeah, there's like a term for it, where...
Castration.
No, what was it? It was like the Roman Catholic Church or something like that went around to all of the old... I think it was later. I think it was like in the 1400s or something like that.
Like around the Inquisition time?
Yeah, the Roman Catholic Church went around to all of the like Greek and Roman statues and everything and had sculptors just kind of like knock the penises off of all of them. So there's like, yeah, it's a whole... And then later on they were like, we shouldn't have done that. And then they had to have sculptors like sculpt new penises and put them on. I have no sources for this. This was something that I heard in a class like
That's
10 years
wonderful.
ago. But
Okay, but apparently this happened way before that. Some vandal went around and just like knocked off the penises off of all these Hermes
Fuck
statues.
you, Hermes.
To be funny? I don't know. What did Hermes do?
Pretty funny.
Don't you think Hermes would also, though, find that a little funny? He'd be like, come on.
Cut it out.
You
give my penises back.
He's the god of thievery. I wonder if they stole the penises to honor him.
Aw.
That's nice.
For
Okay.
honor.
So after the leader of the chorus is like, keep that dick covered, otherwise somebody's gonna come and chop it off like they did to Hermes. And the Athenian ambassador pulls his cloak over his erection and says, by God, that's good advice. So Lysistrata comes in and she calls for, quote, the young girl reconciliation. This is where the play gets weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, this is where the play gets weird.
A completely naked woman comes out, and she grabs the two main ambassadors from both sides by their giant erections, and she drags them forward by
and
their
then she
dicks.
gets in a canoe, and she rows herself to shore.
With their giant erections.
Yes.
They couldn't see the motion you were doing. She was canoeing.
I was.
With dicks.
With dicks.
So Lysistrata...
It was an uncanny portrayal of
honestly,
what it would look like if you were in a canoe and you were using two men's penises as paddles.
Yeah, and also it was a pretty generous depiction.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll say that.
Lysistrata lectured them about how they should be friends and not stupid idiots, and then she started a dialogue about what they wanted from each other. And they're like, okay, they actually use Reconciliation's naked body as if it's a map, and one of them's like, I want this piece of land here that's raised out, I want that land, and the other one's like, you can have that land over my cold dead body, you can get this land over here, and he's like, the butt crack, I don't want that!
Wait, her name is Reconciliation?
She's the embodiment of reconciliation, so she's not like a real thing, but she's personified by a fully naked woman.
This feels like those places where they do, like, you eat sushi off of a naked
that's
woman.
What it kind of is.
Why?
I want the place covered in edamame. So
I want the tobacco parts.
So after the negotiations, Lysistrata tells them that the women would host a feast at the Acropolis, where the men would make an official oath for peace. After that, they'd be allowed to take their wives and go home. So they feasted, they danced, they realized they weren't so different after all. And then the men took their wives and had sex over and over and over again, and everyone was happy and there was no more war. The end.
Oh, word. Okay.
That's Lysistrata. Guys, I put in the free text, like the PDF of the translation I used for this. Go read it. I'm not embellishing or exaggerating a single goddamn thing in this. In fact, I cut out so many things. I was like, this is going to be 2 hours long if I actually keep putting in everything I want to put in. It's weird. So, here's a note on Aristophanes. Aristophanes used his plays, like I said, to speak out about the important issues. Education and rhetoric were considered extremely important in Greece, especially Athens at this time. Like, this is who we modeled our entire democratic system off of. But those things were only available to the wealthy. And so things like war and state affairs were up for debate amongst rich men, and that left the rest of society, including women and the poor, to suffer the consequences of someone else's actions. This doesn't touch on the fact that there were slaves and, you know, other people of lower class and even like what was considered low class. He's not going to mention that. But just so you know, that's where he was at. According to Wikipedia, quote, Aristophanes believed that education and knowledge was a public service and that anything that excluded willing minds was nothing but an abomination, which is right. Of course, Lysistrata is a product of its time. Aristophanes was in no way a woke feminist. He was just imagining a scenario that could have never possibly existed.
Also, I think it's clear that he's not a woke feminist from how they all have a girly sleepover where they touch each other's boobs.
Yeah.
And that's the opening of the play.
And that's the opening. They can't have a single meeting where they're not just like fondling each other and talking about how good their asses are. So a peaceful end to the wars was never going to be possible, and he knew that. And women didn't have half the rights that Lysistrata and the other women exercise in the play. We've already talked about this in our second off-topic, which was about feminism in ancient Greece. But we already know all the rights. If you want to know about that, I go into that in depth in that off-topic. And you can find that in the off-topic section of our website. In the 5th century BC, the historian Thucydides wrote, quote, the greatest glory for women is to be least talked about among men, whether in praise or blame. So we know that they weren't allowed to even use women's names. Like, you only referred to women by, like, the man she was attached to. So it'd be like Socrates' wife. Yeah. And of course, they didn't have any right to vote. They weren't allowed to divorce their husbands. They had no input on what happened to their children. And they were living pretty terrible lives. This did not stop Aristophanes from writing more comedies where women take over the government, which he did several times. He has just like a bunch of things where women are like, men are fucking things up. Now we're in charge. And every time women like make a bunch of blunders and it's like, okay, well maybe like no one group is like perfect at this, but like we do need a change, which is kind of fun. And my sources are... There's an article for History Today by Michael Scott, and it's called, quote, The Rise of Women in Ancient Greece. Not that Michael Scott. Mm-hmm. There's also one from a GreekReporter.com article called, quote, Sex Strike, Why Ancient Greek Play Lysistrata is Trending in the U.S., and that was around the time of, like, the Roe versus Wade decision being overturned.
That's cool.
Yeah, where Lysistrata was brought up a whole bunch, because Lysistrata is very important to the conversations we have about women's rights. It's constantly being used. People are always saying, like, we should do a sex strike like Lysistrata. That's not a thing, though. It's like the workers' strike, you know, of like, all women should stop going to work. Well, there's no way that a big enough group of women in the U.S. were going to do that, you know?
Yeah, that has its own, like, attendant issues.
It does.
Like, you know, women who are supporting their families and things like that and don't have any other support system beyond the money that they make.
Well, yeah, there and women who are living in jobs that would fire them for doing stuff like that, you know? But, well, and you also have to also keep in mind that in this play specifically, they talk about, like, what if the men rape us? And it's like, okay, well, then make it unenjoyable for them. And so, like, there's just, like, a whole different way of thinking in this that I don't think is obviously not a one-to-one comparison. But it is a very important play to know about and to be able to reference and recognize.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of Lysistrata.
That's great. Honestly, I didn't know that Lysistrata was a play. I thought that it was a historical thing. And it reminds me of like stories about Atlantis and everything like that, where it was like a thought experiment. Yeah. Being like, what if there was this place? What would their society be like? And everything. And it was kind of also a caution against like overreaching your grasp as a civilization. Being like, hey, don't try and replace the gods because then your city will get sunk. So it was like a fiction and a thought experiment, and people are still like, yeah, but we have this text that says that Atlantis existed. And it's kind of it's a similar kind of thing, I feel like, where it's like, yeah, this is fictionally a really great and fascinating example that we can use to talk about, like, oh, this is, you know, what if this had happened.
But people, whenever I see it mentioned, so I've known about this play for a long time. I studied this in college with my amazing professor, Kristen Nishadi Johnson, who's like one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. And she, when we talked about this, like, of course, she had all of like the actual dramaturgy and play experience behind it, where she could like tell us what it was like to put on this play and how they built the giant erections and how weird this is. But the idea of bringing it up over and over again as like an actual viable thing that women could do, I don't think is very helpful, because this isn't something that you could just mass do. It would be nice in a perfect world if everybody could organize so well that like this would work. But also I think that it not only in the modern day shortchanges women, because I do think it does. I think it's like, this is all we have to offer is our sexual prowess, you know? Yeah. But it also kind of shortchanges men, where it's like, this is all they care about. Like, literally, the thing that could end war is that they only care about sex. And I don't think that's true. No. You know, it's like one of those gender roles that, like, my mother believes. Like, men only want one thing. And it's like, hey, human beings are complex and fascinating creatures. Yep. They have lives and memories and feelings and emotions. And, yeah. But this is a very black and white look, comical, farcical look at that sort of thing.
Question for you on the subject of dramaturgy.
Yeah.
How, in this play when it was put on, how would they have indicated that the officers shit their pants?
They all held their butts and went, oh no!
Oh no, I'm shitting my pants!
I wonder if they had a sound effect.
It's just a tuba being like... That's a trombone that you just did.
I did do a trombone. They had a slide whistle every time a man shit their pants. Meow.
Every time a man got an erection. Meow.
Oh, somebody pay us to put on this play. We would do such a good job.
I really feel like we could have, if we could go back in time and change one thing about Greek society, introducing them to slide whistles earlier, a comic implement would change a lot of things.
I'm sorry. I just think we discovered a new god. This looks like the god of slide whistles.
He has a propeller hat.
His name is Pamela Anderson. Okay.
It's a callback.
Yeah. To what? We'll never tell.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's
you
a
want to
secret.
take a break?
I do.
Okay. Goodbye.
No.
Ooh.
Okay. And we're back.
69?
69?
You're nothing if not great at whistling.
Thanks. I was laughing when I was doing it. It's really difficult. So the story that I have for you today, this was a complicated one because we had already decided that we wanted the 69 episode to be the sexy episode.
And we wanted this to be about sex. We didn't even argue about that. We were at like 69, maybe we should just do another episode. We were like, okay, boners. we need stories about boners.
And the difficult thing is that we've already done a lot of the stories that you would think of as like the sexy stories. We've done, Samson and Delilah. We already did. I told a story about Diarmid of Celtic myth, and so I was thinking about doing Diarmid and Grania, but I was like, that's,
You told the Green Knight, which is the sexiest of the Arthurian legends.
Yeah, exactly.
I talked about inventing the world's first dildo.
Exactly. So, like, we've already hit a bunch of
the sexy ones.
The sexy ones.
Yeah.
So this was really hard. I thought about doing the story of Lady Godiva, but which it turns out is very non-sexual, and also a huge bummer, so I didn't do that.
Kind of on purpose non-sexual, so
yes.
Sexualizing it would have been a little bit problematic.
Yes. So here's what I went into this with, right? I went into this thinking 69, right?
Yeah.
Just in your head, right? The concept, I had like a word cloud for the number 69, where I was like, 69. Right, we've got giving and receiving.
By the way,
right?
R.I.P. both of our Google search histories.
Oh my god, I googled sexy fairy tales so many times. Oh my god,
both of us. Honestly, just like fairy tales about sex. Okay, the sexiest goddesses. All right, penis folktale. It was just real bad.
Oh god,
we did that
so
for
bad.
you guys.
My ads are a nightmare.
Yes.
Facebook thinks I'm a monster fucker. It's like, hey, Facebook, why are you running ads for monster fuckers? That doesn't seem like that should be your realm, Facebook. So I was like, okay, word cloud for 69. You've got like giving and receiving, right? Which is, a trope in stories, but I couldn't really find anything that specifically made sense or like was sexy in any way. I was like, oh, I've heard stories where people like swap heads, like they like on their bodies. Yeah. And then I couldn't find any folktales where that happened. There is a lot of fan fiction about it. A lot of people apparently have that as a thing that they're into. Yeah. Didn't know that.
By the way, if you're hearing a weird buzzing sound, somebody decided to do yard work or construction, apparently across the street from us. Okay, but now you know.
Now you know. And I there were a couple of I came across a bunch of like sexy fairy tales and folk tales that are kind of jokes.
Yeah.
They're like punchlines.
Yeah. Short.
So this whole process was arduous, to say the least. But when I was thinking about like what is 69, right? 69 is it's about like
Tell us, Max. Tell us the tale. What's
it's about like an exchange. It's about like attraction. It's also a little disappointing. It's like this just isn't.
It's never
the
as
body
sexy
isn't necessarily
as you
designed
hope
for this.
It will be.
Yeah, it's like it's
sure.
Not, it's fine, but it's not great.
Oh my god, a scathing 2-star review for Max. 69. It's fine, but it's not great.
I'm just saying, like, it's, it's complicated for,
sure.
I don't know if the process is necessarily worth the result.
I want one of those inspirational quote pictures, with like a sunset clouds from like a plane, and it's just you
dolphins in front of a sunset.
69. It's fine. It's not great. Max Higgins.
Oh, I was thinking 69 and the astrological symbol for Pisces, which looks like the number 69, but it turns out that that's a whole weird Greek myth about Eros and Aphrodite, and I think they turn into fish, and that's kind of the whole story. So that wasn't like anything. So I was like, this is, it's kind of disappointing. It's got like, it's complicated, right, as a concept. So with that in mind, I want to preface this by saying that there is another side to this story, which is less fun, less pleasant. It's episode 69. I'm not going to get into that.
Sure.
I left some sources in the episode description that get more into like the real life kind of parallels and results of this kind of story. But this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah,
I hope. And I want to be really clear that I am not being an apologist for any of this, just that this is a fun and silly story.
Yeah, you are
for
picking
69.
what you wanted to tell.
Yes.
This is sort of the story, guys.
This is sort of the story, right? So, all right. So I have a couple little baby stories, and then I'm going to tell you about the big thing.
Okay.
So the Amazon River,
Okay.
right, in South America. Once there was a young woman, and she would go down to the river to wash her clothes. And she was very hardworking, and a lot of times she would be like humming or whistling or singing while she was working. She was just very pretty and, very clever, very hardworking,
Yeah.
And every day she would go down to the river, wash the clothes, go back home. And she was married. She had a husband, and her husband was a fisherman and a hunter. So he would go out on these long expeditions to go hunting, to go fishing, come back. Sometimes he would be gone for a couple of days. Sometimes he would be gone for a couple of months. And she never really knew ahead of time which it was going to be. He was just like, all right, I'm leaving. Bye.
Make him never leave again.
So one day her husband says, I'm going out on an expedition. I'll be back when I'm back. Stop asking. And she's like, okay, bye. She goes down to the river. She washes the clothes. She goes back home, and she kind of prepares. She settles in to be a little bit lonely for a little while.
Yeah.
But to her surprise, around dinner time, her husband comes back home, and he's holding a line of fresh fish. And he's like, why don't we have a special dinner? You prepare these fish, and we'll have like a little feast, just the two of us. And she's like, that sounds great. And so she cooks up the fish. They make a big, beautiful feast. They, just sit and talk for the first time in a while.
Aww.
And they end up sleeping together, right?
Okay.
Early in the morning, before the sun even rises, he says, hey, I've got to go back out. Okay. But I love you and I'll see you later. She's like, okay, great. So he leaves. He comes back the next night, and he comes back from hunting around dusk the following day. Again, he has a huge string of fish, and she's like, wow, you are really
You're killing it.
having a great time on this expedition. And he's like, yeah, I'm just really lucky, but why don't we make dinner again? And the same thing happens. And this goes on for several weeks, where he comes at dusk with all of his fish that he's captured, and then leaves before the sun comes up to go back out hunting and fishing. About a year passes, and this continues.
And she's like, this is great.
This is great. And one night her husband comes home, and he doesn't have any fish. And she's like, husband, why haven't you brought any fish for dinner? Did something happen? And he's like, why would I bring fish for dinner? She's like, you've been bringing fish this whole time. Why wouldn't you? And he's like, I've been gone for a year.
What?
So he's been gone for a year on his expedition, and it turns out, so the husband is like, so someone's been coming and bringing you fish and looking like me, and they've been here for a year while I've been gone. Great, cool. So he goes to the village shaman. He's like,
who's fucking my wife?
Someone's fucking my wife. And the shaman is like, I know exactly what happened. And the husband is like, tell me. And the shaman's like,
it was
no. So the shaman of the village does a ritual that allows him, it kind of gains him access to this land, right? And it is a land, bingo for Max,
land.
Underwater.
No! Max! How do you keep finding these?
It's an underwater kingdom under the Amazon, and it's called Encantado, and it's described as being just like the world above, except all of the people are fish.
Okay.
And also everything is just a little bit better.
I just realized you also brought up Atlantis in this episode. That's 2 bingos.
That's a bingo.
That's a bingo.
So the shaman does a ritual to gain access to Encantado, and he goes there and he's like, all right, which one of you sons of bitches did this? And a dolphin, a pink dolphin, swims up to the shaman and is like, you got me.
This dolphin's been going up and fucking that woman?
Yes.
Real good.
This dolphin is called an Encantado, which means enchanted.
Oh, ooh.
They are pink river dolphins in the Amazon, which are real animals.
Okay.
And at night, they can transform into men.
Yeah, any man they want.
Yeah.
And fuck any wife they want.
Exactly. That's what they do. That's
Okay.
their whole thing.
All right.
And so the shaman is like, I got you, you son of a bitch. And he's like, all right. And so the shaman goes back up and he teaches the husband like a ritual to stop the Encantado from coming. And the wife is like, you know, like, no, I miss him. I love him. And the husband's like, no, you don't. And so they like break the quote unquote spell the Encantado has on the wife and everything goes back to normal, right?
Okay, but she had a horrible life before. Now she knows that it could be better.
Yeah. So that's the first little story that I'm going to tell you.
Okay. Wow, your version of Encanto is way worse.
It's definitely different. The number of times that I was like, Encanto. No. Encante and Encantado. So close every time. So wrong. So, the next story starts the same way. Right. Oh, just to be really clear, when she was washing her clothes down by the river, the Encantado was watching her and he fell in love with her because she's so beautiful and hardworking.
Yeah.
You know, classic normal stuff. And he was like, I have to go become a man and have sex with that woman.
No. Tale as old as time, am I right?
More like a flipper. What?
More like a flipper?
Mm-hmm. What flipper as old as time?
Tail! Oh my god, that took me too long. I was like, Max, that's not anything. More like a dolphin. What?
More like Encante. What? You can't just say a word from the topic that we're discussing.
It's not a thing.
So here's another tale for you.
Okay.
Once again, a young woman who every day goes down to wash her clothes by the river.
Mm-hmm.
She goes down close to dusk, which, as part of the mythos of the Encantado, they can only turn into a man between dusk and dawn.
Okay.
Right? Which is why he would show up and then leave, because during the day they turn back into dolphins. They're were-dolphins, is what it comes down to.
Okay.
So she's washing her clothes and she sees a man standing by the shore. And they lock eyes, and she is, like, enraptured by him. He is, like, the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen, and she just, like, drops everything that she's doing and, like, walks up to him and is like, hi, who are you, and where are you from? And he says, I'm a fisherman from the river. And she says, wow, that's really cool. I'm from the village over there. And he's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, great, cool. And he's like, so do you want to get married? And she's like, yeah. And then they bone.
Before they get married?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they bone. So every day after that, she goes down to the river around dusk, which is when he says that he's, you know, going to be down by the river because he fishes all day, presumably, and then comes back at night. And she goes down to the river to see him, and they bone, and then she goes back home, right? Mm-hmm. And eventually her father is like, daughter, why are you going out every night? And she says, Papa, I'm in love. I'm in love with a fisherman. I've been going down to the river to see him, and we're going to get married, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I love him, Daddy.
Daddy, no.
And he's like, I asked you one question, and you are throwing yourself around this house.
And so he's like, okay, cool. And so that night, the fisherman shows up at their house and he says, hi, I'm so sorry I didn't do this sooner. I'm the man that your daughter has been seeing, and I wanted to ask you for her hand in marriage. And the dad is like, sure, you're a fisherman. No, you have Daddy, a job.
I love him. Don't. She's just throwing herself in the back.
And from that point on, from that point on, her father is like, okay, you can stay over whenever you want. Which is nice. Before
what a liberal dad.
I know, right? So every evening, the fisherman comes to the young woman's house. They sleep together, and he's gone before dawn.
This dad is maybe too chill?
Maybe too chill.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. Hard to say.
Time will tell. Sorry, time will flipper.
But one morning, the fisherman sleeps in past dawn, and the young woman wakes up in her bed. The sunlight is creeping across the covers, and she rolls over expecting to be alone as always, and she stretches out her arms, and her arm touches something cool and slimy. She's like, what the fuck is that? And she looks over, and there's a full dolphin in her bed.
Hey, so do you want to go get breakfast, or?
So there's one of these, like, pink river dolphins that's just in her bed sleeping, and she's like, ah! And her dad comes in with a shotgun and is like, what? And she's like, ah! And he's like, oh my God. And he shoots the dolphin in the head.
No!
So he shoots the dolphin in the head, and she's like,
wow!
Oh my God, why the fuck was there a dolphin in my bed? And he's like, I have no idea.
But you're safe now.
You're safe now. Don't worry, darling. And so they go and they bury the body, and she's like, can't wait to tell my fisherman fiance about all of this.
You stupid bitch.
But the fisherman never returns, and she is left brokenhearted and pregnant.
What?
So she is pregnant. The fisherman who she was supposed to marry is nowhere to be found. And so she is heartbroken. She reaches term. She has the baby. She dies in childbirth.
Oh, God.
And the baby is a dolphin.
I hate it when that happens.
I hate it when that happens.
This is why abortion should be illegal everywhere. Sometimes your baby is a dolphin. What now?
I should be able to fuck dolphins without consequences.
Max Higgins. Please put that as another quote card.
Please don't. Jesus Christ.
I should be able to fuck dolphins without consequences. Also, 69. It's fine.
So, these are the stories of the Encantado. The Encantado, in real life, the Amazonian pink river dolphin, species name Inia jeffrensis. They're all named Jeff.
No kidding.
In Spanish, sometimes called Delfín Rosado, or in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, either the Boto or the Boto Corderosa, or the Bufos Colorados, all of which basically just mean
pink dolphin.
Pink dolphin, right? This is a real animal that is in the Amazon. They are a little bit smaller than standard dolphins. They are about 8 feet long and about 450 pounds.
Okay.
They
big boys.
Yeah, big old boys. They're river dolphins, and what that means for them, like in terms of the structure of their body, is that they have special vertebrae that allow them to turn on a dime, so they can actually turn their body 90 degrees to get around like roots and stuff that are in the river.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. The reason why they are pink is unclear, but lots of scientists have theorized that because they're born gray and then they become pink as they get older, they think
like
that...
flamingos.
Like flamingos. And I assumed it would have a similar explanation, which is that like they were just eating pink snails.
Yeah.
You know? They actually think because the adult river dolphins, and especially the males, who tend to be brighter pink than the females, they like to fight each other.
Okay.
And so they're like, we think all of the pink might be scar tissue from all the fights that they get into all the time. Yeah. Horrifying.
But also par for the course with dolphins. Dolphins are fucked up, guys.
Yeah. But also, who doesn't like a man with a couple of scars, you know?
Me. I want them smooth and gray.
Smooth and gray.
Smooth and gray.
So they live in the Amazon. There are lots of stories about these Amazonian river dolphins. The most prominent story that is told about them is that you have to be careful around dusk because you can go down to the river and accidentally fall in love with a man who is actually a dolphin.
Oh,
I hate it when that happens. The Encantado, which is the mythical version of this, is specifically described as being a dolphin who can turn into a were-dolphin, who falls in love with human women nonstop.
Oh my God. I just cannot believe that you dropped a new cryptid after so long, and it's a were-dolphin.
So, obviously, though, you know, as long as you're away from the riverbank and it's not dusk, you're safe, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Oh, no!
Because here's something you don't know about the Encantado. They like to party.
I mean...
They like music and dance and drink and food. They love to fucking party.
They're social creatures.
They want to get down.
These Encantos.
With the get.
They want to get down.
So if you throw a party, a festa, in most places that this myth pervades.
Yeah.
If you throw a festa, sometimes a mysterious man will show up, and he will be dressed all in a white suit, and he will have a hat on top of his head, and he will be the handsomest man at the party. He will hold everyone's attention. He'll be the center of attention. He'll be a beautiful musician, incredibly talented, and all of the women will fall in love with him immediately, and he's probably going to go home with someone. This is the Encantado in human form. Always with... like all white clothes.
So beware of that hot guy at the party who's nice and friendly.
Always wearing a hat.
Okay.
Guess why?
Because his top of his head has a little fin.
Close.
Dorsal fin.
No. Has a blowhole.
Ew.
They say that in human form, the Encantado still has a blowhole on the top of his head.
Blowhole.
A blowhole on the top of his head. And so he'll always wear a hat. So if a stranger comes to your party wearing a hat, you ask them to take it off to make sure that they're not a were-dolphin.
I'm so upset because of all the... I'm so upset because my mind is gross. Can't stop thinking about fingering a blowhole. Max, why'd you do this to me?
Moment of silence for every single one of us. I've sent us all to hell. A couple more little things about the Encantado. They are said to be the rulers of this underwater kingdom of Encante.
Okay.
They are... In real life, the pink river dolphins are at risk as a species.
Yeah.
But supposedly, if you kill or eat, accidentally or on purpose, a pink river dolphin, you'll be cursed for the rest of your life with bad luck. Right?
The same thing is about endangered tigers. If you kill that, you'll be cursed forever.
Yeah, and also you'll be a bad person.
If you're the person who killed one of those like black rhinos, you've been cursed forever, and your whole line is cursed.
And also, you're a bad person.
Yeah. The person who killed and ate the last dodo bird, cursed forever.
They're said to obviously be able to shapeshift into men, kind of at will, specifically to go onto land, seduce women, and impregnate them, and then disappear. They are also said to be the guardians of the Amazonian manatee, which is, they're very rare, the Amazonian manatee. And it's said that you will never in your life see an Amazonian manatee unless you first make peace with a pink river dolphin. Because the pink river dolphins, like, keep the manatees away from people to keep them protected.
Aww.
So you have to be able to convince a dolphin that you should be allowed to hang out with a manatee.
Worth it.
Yeah. Also, just a fun little... Don't ask questions. Okay. But if you make eye contact with them for too long, you will have nightmares for the rest of your life. That's just a fun little thing.
Okay.
Sure.
What about if
Curse
they're
to
in
an
their...
eternity of nightmares.
What if they're in their man form and you just want to look lovingly in each other's eyes as you make love?
Unclear.
Okay. That might be okay. You might be okay in that sense.
You might be okay. There is a potential origin story for the Encantado, which is that at one point there was an indigenous warrior in ancient times, unclear ancient times. A lot of the sources for this, by the way, are like stories posted by like cruise pages where they're like, come to the Amazon, fuck a dolphin. So the sources are not the best, but it's said that at one point there was an indigenous warrior in ancient times who was so beautiful and well loved that the gods were jealous, and so they cursed him to be a dolphin.
A pink dolphin.
And that's the whole story. The Encantado is also said in some cases to be able to hypnotize people and to be able to cause or stop storms.
Okay.
So, like, when fishermen's boats are in peril and things like that.
That's
sometimes
because of these pink dolphins?
Yeah, or maybe they're stopping it. It's unclear.
Okay.
So, again, this is something where it's kind of a cautionary tale about, like, hey, if you see... First of all, if you see a white guy... a guy in a...
If you see a white guy... Run.
You're in danger. If you see a guy in a white suit and like a little hat at a party and like everyone is crowded around him and he's like playing a guitar.
That's probably Colonel Sanders and you're fine.
But it's like, don't go home with him because he might be a dolphin.
Don't go home with him. That might be Colonel Sanders. And Colonel Sanders, as everyone knows, is married.
What do you want to do? Wreck a home? So this is used as an explanation for like, you have to, it's a lot like a Selkie story where sometimes the story is that, you know, the Encantado just comes to land, falls in love with a woman, has sex with her, and then leaves either because he's mandated to or because they are deeply irresponsible fathers. A lot of times the women are pregnant as a result. This is a lot of times used socially and culturally to say, like, if you don't know who a child's father is, like if his father is unknown, then you call them the child of the bota.
Okay.
Which is...
Boat baby.
Yeah. Dolphin baby. Yeah, so that it's used to cover up a lot of bad stuff occasionally, but they are just
It's like all of those demigods in Greece.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. His father is Zeus.
Sometimes they come back for the baby, like they will arrive at some point in the child's life and return them to the Amazon to become Encantados in their own right, I guess, which is kind of like a Selkie story. Or sometimes they will take the women that they love and bring them down to Encante, the underground kingdom, to be with them forever. Sometimes in a way that is less come away with me and in a way that is more I am kidnapping you, which is
terrifying.
Pretty in line with what I know about dolphins.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yes. So just that's the Encante, the sexy were-dolphin.
New cryptid just dropped, guys.
New cryptid just dropped. And there, again, like I said, there are a bunch of very, like, valid historical things about, like, why the Encante is not cool or sexy, but it's episode 69, so I'm not going to get into it. I have some sources that go into...
Yeah. Not necessary, thank you.
But I have a lot of sources listed that get more into that side of things. There's also the Cryptid Keeper podcast, which was a favorite of mine that concluded back in 2020 for very good reasons. They decided that they weren't qualified to speak on some of the things that they had done episodes about.
Yeah.
But they did do an episode about the Encante, episode 41, which you can find on most streaming services. It's Addison Peacock and Alex Flanagan talking about the Encante with, I think, James D'Amato is his name, who is... like a TTRPG podcaster.
Sure.
And it's just very fun and silly. They take much more of the sinister aspect of the were-dolphin perspective. So the other side of that, go over there to check that out. But like I said, the real life things that this is used to explain are like fucked up, where it's like, oh, an unwanted and illegitimate pregnancy kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's because of a dolphin, not because of sexual assault. But if you take it at face value of like, what if a dolphin could be a hot man and he was in love with you? Then I think that's a fun 69.
Then you're going to ruin your Facebook ads, as Max has.
Yeah. So I pitched to you, Janey, one of those inspirational posters that you mentioned.
Yes.
69. It's fine. It's not great. Dolphins in front of a sunset.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Max, fantastic.
Sexy.
I am delighted to know that were dolphins are a thing.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So also, sorry, I forgot to get into the craziest part. Sometimes when they transform into people, obviously they still have the blowhole sometimes, but also sometimes when they transform back into dolphins, they'll still have people parts.
Yeah.
So one of the things that this is used, it's the idea that like a dolphin penis looks a lot like a human penis, and they're like, oh, because he's transforming from a human back into a dolphin. It's like, no, that's just because dolphin penises are weird.
Guys, why are you looking at dolphin penises so much?
But also sometimes in the myth, sometimes Encantados will have like when they go back into the water, they'll have their fins that will have like tiny human hands at the end.
No!
Which is horrifying.
Ew! Okay. Oh, we didn't need to know that part. That's worse than everything.
I will also, I'll share with Janey some of the art of these things. I showed you a couple of them, but every single piece of art of these things is upsetting as hell.
Okay.
If you want to know more about the Encantado, there is a book called Encantado by Sly Montgomery, Encantado, Pink Dolphins of the Amazon. There's also a collection, kind of an encyclopedia of mythological creatures called Half Human, Half Animal, Tales of Werewolves and Related Creatures by Jamie Hall, which has a section on Encantados. I don't have either of those books, but they did come up a lot in my research, so if you want to learn more about the Encantado, check it out.
Delightful.
Thanks.
Okay, guys. Well, that was episode 69.
69?
Are you satisfied, you horny monsters? God, get off our backs. We gave you what you wanted. Nobody asked for this. If you like that, leave us a review and a rating. 5 stars only, thank you. Anywhere that you listen to this podcast, we would appreciate it. And join us on our Discord.
Yeah.
And go comment on our Instagram if you want to make a comment that you want other people to see. And follow us on Twitter and TikTok and all those good things. And Facebook.
Send us an email.
Apparently. And Keith, shout out to you. Good luck with this one, buddy.
Good luck.
Keith, tell us about your 69 stories. I don't know. Keith, don't do that.
Keith, please don't do that.
Bet Keith only 99.
Aw, where you
Or-
lick each other's heads.
Yeah, or 66s.
Where you lick each other's heads but upside down.
Let us know. Okay, everybody have a great week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Whose side are you on, Max?
I'm on the
Really?
side of justice and science.
You're a bad friend. You should be on my side at all times. If it comes between me and justice, you need to be on my side.
Case by case.
Okay, give me an example of a case where you wouldn't be on my side.
If you were a murderer and I was like, hey, what happened? And you were like, oh, I just felt like it would be fun to do some murder and I really feel like I should be allowed to do that. I would be like,
be on my side?
no, I mean, if you had a good reason, if you were like, oh, like self-defense, or like, oh, I was like stopping a predator or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm on your side and I will help you hide the body. But if you were just like, I just thought it would be fun to murder some people
Okay.
and I think that I should be allowed to do that.
Okay, how
I'm
about
on the side of justice.
they cut me in line, and when I said, hey, excuse me, the line starts back there, which is an hour-long line, they turned to me and said, hey, excuse me, the line starts back there. Would you be on my side if I murdered them?
No.
Okay.
I would be on your side if you headbutted them. That would be an overreaction,
Max,
but not completely unfair.
I am not a violent person by nature. I would never headbutt somebody.
But you would murder them.
I'm loving with the deer.
I'm just violent. I just want to do murder.
How dare they? I'm getting all fired up.